What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord Dr. Professor Dark Joker here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are traditional fans with opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. One Piece, chapter 1177. So in this chapter, so you have basically the giant like the so you have Dory, Bragi, Hadriden, Zoro, fighting the Domi Reversi giant pirates. Like basically everyone's trying, they're just trying to like kill them or like free them so that when they're alive again, they're free. Of course Kashi is concerned because he doesn't want to fight his friends. And like yeah, it's kind of funny. You see, they're so Drew's like they seem a little too eager to kill them. Like it's so funny, and you have, Gabon and Chopper are there. Gabon, still hurt, so he can't really fight much. And Chopper transforms into like his giant form, and he's able to not, attack one and free it. But it's like it almost like it wasn't like that hard of a hit, but Chopper was able to free it, so it's like what? So I don't know if it's like there's something regarding Chopper's devil fruit or something. And so Killingham has been beaten, like he's separated, like his head separate, and like basically, so Sanji, uh, Frankie, and Jinbei are trying to keep like his body parts separate so he doesn't come back. Nami's feeding the Zeus stuff, like so that Zeus can use his rain to wash out the fire. And Killingham's pissed at Jinbei holding his head. He's basically like Jinbei's like, when you're just ahead, all you can do is bark. I'm like, dang. And so Sanji's kind of annoyed because they seem very weak, and Frankie's like, hey, we're too strong. I mean, Luffy is a emperor, and Sanji said he liked to believe that that's the case, but he doesn't like the fact that Elbaf was, he's basically like he doesn't like that Elbaf was brought to its knees by them, considering how weak they are. And basically, Jimmy says you gotta be careful because one of them's still unharmed. Now they don't know about Emu, so you know, I mean, so obviously they'll understand that like there's a reason why Gunko's not unharmed. So Nami's wanting Zeus to like wash out the fire, and then you have Loki and Luffy arrive, and everyone's shocked at the size of Loki in his dragon form, and like and everyone's shocked. And Nami's like, "Are y'all?" She's like, "Are y'all idiots?" And Nami's like, "You're making friends with weirdos again. It's nice he's taking out the monsters." He's like, "But the flames are just making things worse." And she's like, "If you help the enemy burn Elbaf, what's the point?" Ragnar's patting Luffy on the shoulder, like, "I understand." And Luffy's like, "Loki, I got yelled at because of you." Loki's like, "Hey, I'm destroying people who are hovering Elbaf. Why should I be scolded by your crewmates?" And he shoots his lightning breath at Luffy, but it doesn't affect him because it's lightning and Luffy's made of rubber. And Luffy's like, "Oh, it's just lightning." Luffy's like, "Why does it work?" And Luffy's like, "If it did, I'd whoop your butt right now." I'm like, what the frick? This is so funny. So then, Usopp has gotten towards where Brook is at, and Usopp is like, hurt. So my guess is, so we know with the anime, it seems like they're going to do one chapter per episode. So probably what's going to happen is, and this would be the smart thing, expand some of the fights to give some more context. Okay, how are some of these people hurt? Show more of the fight so you get a fuller version of it. But you get everything you need in the manga, but then you just expand a little bit to add some context in the anime. That's a smart thing to do because that I mean they did that. Anime did that very well in Wado with some of the fights. So specifically some of the samurai. So some of the samurai's fights that were kind of shortened in the manga, in comparison, the anime expand them, and we got the full fights, and it was freaking awesome. That is where I think doing some of the filler can work. Some fights can be expanded well, and anyway, so Brooke is telling Usopp to run away. That he only came over there for his personal reasons. He says that Emu is too dangerous now. Um, so Usopp asks if it said says he's like, you expect me to run away and leave a friend behind, Brooke? And he says a real warrior doesn't run away. And Usopp says, he's been dreaming of Elbaf for years and he's not going to humiliate himself and that he's pissed. And he says that, the Holy Knight, the God Knights are disrespecting Elbaf. And he tells Emu's sneaking around, kidnapping children. So you attack the kingdom with monsters rather than using your own strength. Take over the minds of proud noble warriors and force them to kill each other. Says your plan is scummy, cowardly, and cheap. He's like, shame on, and then Emu just kicks Usopp. And Usopp says, that Elbaf's a nation of warriors that have lived by their swords, their shields, and their very lives. If you want to rule them, at least have the pride to fight them head on, you coward. And Emu says, one who rules does not sully their hands with such tawdry manners. And Usopp pulls his you know slingshot in order to shoot a skull blast grass. Emu appears right in front of him, and right as Usopp fires, and then the explosion happens, and Usopp is knocked out. And Emu recovers, so Gunko's body heals, and that's when Luffy and Loki arrive to where Emu's at. And Luffy sees Usopp and Brook on the ground, and basically Luffy is pissed. And then Emu says, "Thou canst obey or die. Nika Nidhogger. This battle will divide the world." So basically, we're about to get our first fight between Luffy and Emu. We're getting our first. I mean, it's not in person. I mean, Emu's possessing someone, but this is the first time Luffy has met Emu. At least, unless there's some retcon that we don't know about. Um, Like this is big. Luffy has met Emu. Like not. I mean, Emu's not physically there, and it's dude. It's gonna be big, especially once we get Emu's actual appearance. But dude, holy crap! Like yeah. But this was a very good chapter. Good way to introduce the rest of the fight. So we're beginning our final set of fights. So obviously, hopefully, like hopefully, when the anime airs and gets to all this, they do expand these fights some in order to get the full context on them, because context behind them, and that'd be great. That's what I think they should do. Expand the fights, get the full context, and then yeah, I think this is a very good chapter. You know, Looking forward to the next one. Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi, chapter 85. So in this chapter, Bobo has become the new great demon lord, having killed Beelzebub. So he asks Shishido if he's friend about Hellsma being dead. Shishido, I mean, he's obviously pissed off. He says no, but he tries to do a third Am's Apple attack, which he's never done. I guess a third one before in a fight. So he doesn't know what's gonna happen. So he charges at Bobo and he bites Bobo's arm off, and well, then it moves over to where Yamada and Tosaka are at, like back in Ross District. Hydra goes there. So they're trying, they're obviously waiting for Kiyoshi to get to Bobo and deal with him. And then yeah. And then Karuba Ross wakes up and he's wanting to fight Kiyoshi, trying to figure out where he's at. And then like yeah. And then like basically but he's in the like captured by yeah, I like he's definitely like basically crushed by something, and like some creature was revealed to be something created by Shuden. And yeah, so Gaga's been captured, and Lulu's like not like defeated as well. So Shuden plans for him and Hitsugi to head towards Bobo's castle to fight to help Kiyoshi against Helzabobo. But then Bobo suddenly arrives in Ross territory, holding Shishido, who's like knocked out. So obviously, Bobo won. Yeah, and then Bobo says that for Lou to be swayed by an exorcist like Shishido, that she's a disgrace to the clan. So he says whenever, basically, once he gets her castle left, to continue punishing her, whatever that punishment is, I don't know. And Bobo tells Cicero to look at Ross territory to like basically as he like look at as he destroys it. And yes, everyone's concerned because that attack will like just basically destroy the entire area. And then he does his Great Lord Black Lightning attack on different areas. And then that attack comes in from somewhere, destroys Bobo's arm. Shishido falls, but then Shishido's caught. Bobo's looking where it's at, and he sees Kiyoshi, who had, grabbed Shishido. Well, he grabbed like looks like he grabbed Bobo, like Helzebub. So, so Shishido was saved. Kiyoshi has Helzebub. So apparently, Kiyoshi had almost uh missed him. Like he was guys able to make it in time. And so obviously Kiyoshi's now we're just defeating like Bobo. And then it starts with their fist colliding, so the fight starts. So it looks like this arc might be coming to an end soon. So it looks like the big fight against Bobo's gonna start. We'll see what happens. So with Helzebub looks like being there, I guess that means he might actually still be alive. So he may like Helzebub might be alive, and well, I guess Bobo didn't check. Which I mean, honestly, I mean, you're in the fight, you don't necessarily have time to check all that. But yeah, so I thought this was a really good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Into the Witch, chapter 75. So in this chapter, so the reinforcement says that the Discars requested. They arrived at the shore where Ichi's group is at, and they basically they get everyone back to the to the Great Lighthouse Mirror, and Minerva's put in the hospital because she's going to labor, and so yeah, so Shirabe Donna arrives, saying that she'll use her analytical eye to help with the procedure so that there won't be anything to worry about. And Jiki Sharon says she's gonna be there. She wants to help out. Basically, due to the vision she saw, she feels that she has to see this through to the end. And Shirabe Donna tells her to clean herself up and disinfect, which makes sense for a baby delivery. You don't want to risk like the baby getting sick from something, with you know basically if it's a C-section, you don't want to risk anything infecting the mother. So it's understandable. Now, yes, this is magic, but you still have to be concerned about things like that. And then yeah, and so going over because you have concern about the umbilical cord, choking the baby. And so basically, Shirobadana like is able to guide everyone through. Jiki Sharon's worried. She's worried about what's going because of her visions of Minerva's death. She's concerned that maybe Minerva could die, and like to go against one of her visions, it takes a price. Now that price has basically been paid by Chrono Weaver, and yeah, so and then yeah, so then once the baby's born, Minerva holds the baby. Minerva starts crying, seeing her baby's face. Yeah, and of course, Ichi's group arrives, looking at the baby. You know, and then and basically, Jigsaw's thinking to herself that Madoka's proof that humans and magics can coexist, and Ichi says that he can't let that they can't let the world hater take away a feature where basically where people like Madoka can thrive. So Ichi says that they have to like hunt the world hair magic together, and Jiki Shiron agrees. And then Madoka starts crying. Basically I guess Ichi's shouting, Ichi Jiki Shiron shouting, I guess made the baby cry. Which that's a funny way to. I was like, dang, you was like, dang, y'all made the baby cry. But yeah, I thought it was a good chapter, good way to looks like to close this arc because the baby's born, so now obviously they gotta figure out how to deal with the world hater, and not Kizashi's inside a Deskara, so we'll see how that dynamic goes. Like that Kizashi learning how to I guess deal with humans. It would have been interesting to see him talk. It would have been interesting if Kizashi was actually acquired by Ichi. Like dude, like him talk with some of the other magics inside Ichi, that would have been funny. But yeah, I thought this was a very good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Gonron Egg Chapter 20. So in this chapter, so Oma has you know, he's hatched, so he's in like his fully developed form. Like with the egg shatter, with the egg breaking, like basically force him to develop like that. And so he starts fighting Reigoku's forces, and then yeah, so you see the fight going on. So of course, Kagami is still fighting, and then you know, basically, Commander Maya tells everyone to forget her and fight and defend Oma and fight Reigoku. So Gonron and Oma prepare to fight Reigoku, and it looks like the final stage of this series is about to start. So yeah, and it looks like Oma's about to eat Reigoku. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I thought it was a decent chapter. We'll see how the rest of it goes. Obviously, still have the current king to deal with, so we'll see how that goes. And Gonron's sister has to be saved. But yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Mage Next Door, chapter 19. So in this chapter, so Osagawa arrives and very easily beats on the attacker. Like very freaking easily does it. Like beats Gatami and Gatami says, oh, divine mages is mages along with humans, all demons are Doroi together. And Gatami's like, huh, he can really he's happy he can finally bring down the hammer, but then Ine arrives and says that Gatami did well, and Ine says basically he's gonna deal with himself because he sends like a powerful magic, so he felt he had to come himself. So and yeah, so Gatami gives us some of his magic to Ine to like power him up, and then so then Ine shoots a magic attack at Osagawa. It shatters the floor, and so Yobiko summons like an elephant to break the fall. Well, basically, it's like something like that's supposed to be fluffy, to like something that's soft in order to break the fall. Or whatever. So Osagawa was able to like grab something to not fall to the ground below, and Osagawa tells Yobiko to hound things down there, and basically he hounds these up top, and he confronts Ine, and basically Ine said he thought that he had killed Osagawa years ago when he killed Ryugen. So and then basically Ine says that humans are superior to humans, and humans try to not only make mages equal them, but try to kill mages. And Ian says that humans must learn their place, and that Ryugen was guilty because he tried to defend the humans. And then Osagawa says that he was born a human and became a mage. And then he says that mages and humans aren't very different. So he pulls out his wand and prepares to fight Ine. So we might be getting to the end of this series. It looks like we're getting towards the end. I mean, when you have the final, like basically the main villain coming in right here, like unless there's some big reveal coming up, no, they're about to end it pretty soon, I think. But yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Kunon the Sorcerer can see episode 13 and full series. So in this episode, the three factions, they agreed to let Kunon prove himself whether or not he is worthy enough to be able to do 3 factions. So basically, he has to do a duel. So his opponents are the top 4 students of the advanced class. So yeah, so he like uses a. 3 of them are women. One, uh, like is named Cassis, who's it's kind of confusing from what I see. It's so Cassis wears female garments like clothing. Kunon identifies Cassis as a dude, and yeah, so because you can tell like how he reacts different to men and women. Yeah, and it's a little confusing. And so like, but it sounds like Cassis is a dude, is a man that identifies as a woman. That's what it sounds like. Like anyway, so basically how Kunon went, he says he'll beat them all for once. He basically traps them in some sticky water thing that's colored red, make it distinguishable, and basically traps them where they can't do counterattacks or anything. And basically they surrender because they know they ain't gonna do anything. Everyone's shocked he's accepted to all 3, factions. The leaders ask him how he was able to do it. He explains since he was able to beat Zionli doing that same method, but it only works once. It's not something you can work a second time. So, and yeah, so then he's able to now the leaders advise him to speak with the 4 he defeated because they were like humiliating in front of the whole school. Well, I mean, look, it's a duel. They lost. Like they lost to a first year. Like, and basically they tell him to talk to Cassius. They say that Cassius quote has the heart of a man, which implies that he's like, yeah. And they try to explain. So Kudon's like, wait. He's like, what? So he's trying to think about what that means. Like, what in the world that means? Because Cassius basically has the body of a dude, like of a man, but the people tell him he has the heart of a maiden, which that's a whole weird thing there. And so now, and I guess Kunon's able to talk to all of them. I think a lot of that's handled off screen. Like, and so he like tries to talk nicely with everyone, and like basically starts talking to Cassis like he's like I guess like the other women. Yeah, and then Mirika passes the sword exam, and so she's accepted into knighthood classes at the Noble Academy. And Mirika reads Kunon's letter saying that Kunon wants to be a better gentleman, so that he's worthy of Mirika, and says he's met a bunch of women, befriended a bunch of women, who and he's met Cassis, like who then basically he like Kunon then basically says that like said he wants to learn how to be a better gentleman and all that. Now Mirika's concerned about Kunon talking with all these women, but she so and basically Mirka's excited to do her knighthood classes. Kunon's excited for her too, and so then all of them. So the 4 people who Kunon fought, they argue about who Kunon will help first. Now Sandra, who's one of wants to fight him again. Reyes tells Kunon about the Shishola project. And so one of the people who interviewed Kunon, um, like on his first day there, mentioned something about Kunon, hoping Kunon's a troublemaker like Zionli was there. So Kunon accepts a request to like basically he accepts an offer to like search a shipwreck with Cassis and Lulu. So I'm like, yeah, searching a shipwreck, that'd be cool. Find some treasure. I mean, I would agree with searching for a shipwreck. I mean, there could be some cool loot in there. Yeah. And so yeah, that's as far as episode. I don't think it was a that great of an episode. Like they put too much. Like they spent too much time on the Cassis stuff. Like now, I've not read the Sorcerer, so I don't know how much time is spent on that in the manga and light novel, whatever. But I'm like, okay, what does this have to do? Like, this is, I was like, let's just let this be a show about magic school. Like, I care about the magic stuff. I'm like concerned. Me, I'm not concerned with anything with any of this other, like any of the other stuff. I'm kind of like, I want to do. I'm interested in the magic, the school and stuff. Not really interested in really too much else. But yeah, this episode wasn't that great. As far as the overall show, the show is decent. Like, yeah, I mean, look, Kunon can be a little annoying at times. I mean, some of that is due to his childhood environment. I think the way he was sheltered, the way basically his parents had a maid raise him, I think really affected him. But it does provide some good humor. But yeah, I thought this was a decent show. If they make a season two, I'll watch it. Taichon isn't scary. Episode 11. So this episode, Kaya's grandmother's dead. So Kaya's father picks up um Kaya from school. She thought that Nana was gonna pick her up, and basically that's when Kaya's father mentions that Kaya's grandmother's dead. So Nana calls the school, asks for Chi to visit the Ebisumori household, and so yeah, and so I guess Nana picks up Kaya, takes her there too, and so Mobuo and Namu also arrive with Chi there. Basically, Nana explains everything that happened. That basically Mutsu, who is the grandmother, she was cursed. It's revealed that Kaya's mother Mirai is the one that cursed her. So basically, Kaya, and so she has Kaya go outside. He doesn't want Kaya to hear anything about like her grandmother being murdered and stuff, because Kaya's like a 5-year-old. So Kaya plays jump rope outside. She sees a ghost, and the ghost, like a pregnant ghost, the ghost gives birth, and like you see this little like curse coming out. Kaya punches it, but then it disappears. Like so, and then basically, so here's what so Mirai basically was the second daughter. So basically, the oldest daughter is the Shrine Maiden for the Ebisu Mori clan. And so basically, and Mirai went to school. She was bullied because of her family's like supernatural practices. And so Mirai resented the family. The only one who really treated her well, I mean, she got along with her sister, I guess, when she was younger, but not as when she was older. So you have, Mirai's aunt Yoshi, who got pregnant and was the second child as well. Basically, Yoshi had died. The baby was non-existent, not around. So basically, Mirai finds what's implied to be Yoshi's umbilical cord. Basically, the umbilical cord is the source of the power, like the Shrine Main's power. So, and basically, the second ones they give the second daughters give birth to curses, and that basically Yoshi it basically Yoshi died giving birth to a curse. So it means that the ghost that Kaya saw might be Yoshi. And yeah, so the umbilical cord is like kept in storage. Like it's freaking weird. Like competitors something about I guess like eat like consuming the placenta or something. I don't know. This sounds freaking weird. I'm like, look, this is some cultish crap right here. Like this is like, dang, that's messed up. So Mirai not going to end up like Yoshi. She like I think she like I guess takes it with her or whatever. I think, and she and so basically Mirai leaves. Musu tells Nana to not chase after Mirai. And it seems that by the time Mutsu had died, that Mutsu had come to regret everything that happened. And like so, and so Nana explains that Mirai had cursed Mutsu, and that Mirai, the goal of her giving birth, she wanted to give birth to a curse that would destroy the Ebisumori clan. And guess, and basically the longer the baby's in the womb, the stronger the curse will be. So Kaya, I guess, has some of that curse power, but some reason Mirai didn't die when giving birth to Kaya. Maybe because it was like maybe it was like a C-section or something. So, and basically Mirai hopes that the second kid is a success this time, will destroy the clan. And Mirai leaves from her hospital bed, and there's blood on the bed. So the water, so something is wrong with the pregnancy. Like basically, she's bleeding. Like she like so birth is about to happen. Like it is like yeah, it is messed up. But yeah, so and then and yeah, we don't know what happens. Like so things that like we don't know what's about to happen. So then so next like episode looks like I don't know something's about to go down regarding Mirai. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I thought this was a a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Oedo Fire Slayer: The Legend of Phoenix, episode 10. So in this episode, Gengo is like basically having some issues with due to like being a suspect in the Foxfire case, and then yeah, so basically what happens is that a bunch of fires start. Shinosuke dies during it, and like but he was able to save some people. But yeah, so Gengo gets up, he rushes out and prepares to fight the fire. So yeah, and that's really all that happens. Like not like basically like Gengo convinced someone to let him go, one guy to let him go. And yeah, so I thought this was a decent episode. Interesting to see how the rest of this show goes. Like I don't know when it's gonna end. Like with next week, based on next week being 11 episodes out. that'll be the last one, or if they'll continue it, but like into next core. But yeah, I thought this was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Hell's Paradise season 2 episode 11. So in this episode, Gabimaru and Yuzuriha fight Ran. So basically Gabimaru's trying to like you, you know uses Tao effectively to deal with Ran, and basically the whole him willing to be kind of like how Chobi used Tao, like because Gabimaru and Yuzuriha, their goal is to make it back home alive, and Yuzuriha's it's like I'm not gonna help you, but like Gabimaru's like he's like that's fine, but we gotta get back. And you see a flashback to Gabimaru's memories with his wife Yui, how basically then in the past, Gabimaru didn't kill people as much, like didn't really kill people because of his influence of his wife. Like so, like basically, if the mission doesn't involve killing people, he doesn't kill people. That's essentially what it was. Like he only kills who he needs to. He's not like as basically being as willing to kill people as he was with you know before he got married. And so and then Gabimaru basically is like he wasn't willing to accept the fact that his marriage like was actually affecting how he like his mentality, and so and then Yuzuriha's really hurt. She gets injured badly. Like Sam is like basically like the top part of her clothes like dropped out, whatever, and like and so and yeah, she tries to help Gabimaru, and then she like falls unconscious. Um, so I'm not gonna give any spoilers about whether or not she's dead or not, because I am aware of I am aware like of somewhat of who all of what all happens at the end of the series, and so Yuzuriha like is definitely unconscious. Like she's definitely unconscious. So and yeah, so then basically so the fight's still going on, like all that, like with the so yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. Like the visuals for the fight, Gabimaru versus Rand was awesome. But yeah, I thought it was a really good episode. Looking forward to the next one. Under Doctor, Chapter 9. So in this chapter, so you see a flashback to for Haiji like 4 years ago. He you know, did the same surgery he's about to do. So basically, he was trying to get some money he's owed, and then like he's hired to do emergency surgery request, and yeah. So basically, the person he's operating on his name is Reina Zaitsu. It's a high schooler, and then and yeah, basically, apparently her father Kiyotaka tells Haiji that they were told that she had asthma, so she was going through treatment for that. But a few days ago, learned it was like some artery cancer called pulmonary artery sarcoma. I think I pronounced it right. It sounds like an expensive thing to deal with. Basically, it's so rare, so the surgery is very difficult. And Kiyotaka says, don't worry about the money. He says that he's got it coming, so he'll pay for it. So Haiji uses ability to observe Reina, and he observes and he says he'll do the surgery, and it says he'll need cooperation from the hospital. And Kiyotaka says he already talked to the hospital director about it. And Reina says that she wants to pay for her surgery on her own because her father's company probably isn't doing well, so she doesn't want her surgery to like screw up her dad's company. And yeah, so and she doesn't want like her father's company to shut down because of the surgery. And then Haiji says he'll think about it, but that his fees are high, and yeah, so Haiji does the surgery. Basically, so since it was very late discovery, like the whole the basically the tumor had developed farther than basically any doctor could have imagined. So Haiji does the surgery, and basically it's a successful surgery. Like the surgery's actually successful. So they all assume it's gonna be a complete recovery, and basically all other doctors there are like, yeah, how the heck did you do that? Like thank they like thanking him, like they thank him for Haiji for himself. So Haiji's happy, but then you know so one of the doctors comes outside, like runs to him, telling him that something happened with Reina, and so basically it was a post-op deterioration. So the right heart failure, low blood pressure, arrhythmia, arrhythmia, basically unknown causes. So like her heart stopped like basically in minutes, so they didn't have time to help. The surgery was done well, but due to like I guess how late it was, like there was nothing they could do. Like even the surgery was successful, there was nothing they could do. So Chua had tried to cheer up Haiji, and Haiji's basically really sad about what happened. But the next day, Haiji had gone back into work. So we in the present, he prepares to do the surgery. Chua tries, tells Haiji he can do it, and so basically this time with the tumor had not progressed as much and the organs are smaller, so it's basically it has to take more precision to get it done. And so the surgery is done. And so Haiji says, you know, that's not over. They have to deal with the post-op management for the disease is difficult. So to prepare for a so basically his experience from the previous instance, and basically how he says he'll remain in the ICU until the condition stabilize, and basically says if ECMO has to be used, then he'll need everyone's help. And so we're like saying that Haiji's not wrong, but the surgery was done basically perfectly. And one doc says that basically maybe with this disease, perfect won't cut it. And so yeah, so 1 week passes, and the kid seems to have recovered. So basically, so this time, the kid the patient doesn't die. So obviously that Haiji's really happy about that. So Haiji and Chila get on a boat, and and then and yeah, so Shuli's like basically been doing all his elementary studies. He had stayed up 2 nights in a row till after to basically do his studies. Haiji says there's someone he likes to visit, and it looks like it's a grave. So yeah, so and basically, as you see, the grave says Zaitu clan, so it looks like he's going to see Reina's grave. It looks like. Well, it looks like he's planning to see Rain going to Reina's grave. So yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, I thought it was a good chapter, simple flashback. This time when he did surgery, it was successful, so no issues. So almost like a little redemption for himself. But yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Kinato's Magic, Chapter 8. So this chapter, Kinato's trying to use his setting magic to find Ibis. And yeah, so he's able to trace the magic to her, and then yeah, and then basically looks like Kinto's group's heading towards where Ibis is at, and then he's followed by he's fought like he's followed by the kid and the Seraphines who was the same age as him, and then yeah, so basically who like tries to talk with Kendall because he's not met Venture like the same age as him, who basically became Venture around the same time. So and there's like an interesting conversation, and so the kid's name is Zio. So basically, he seems to be a good kid, and then so we see in the village in Kisalani. So, the villagers are talking about Elsie going to the forest. Basically they're concerned about Ibis, but they you know, and then you see the mayor arrive. Maria and Maria's boyfriend Sid. Sid looks freaking crazy, whatever. Yeah. So, and then Sid says if the villagers eat crystals that he could sell them to 'em. And the villagers are like, wait, what are you talking about? The crystals are for everyone. And and so basically, so apparently, there's rumored that Sid has been having people mine crystals and getting them away from the villagers. So and it's implied that Sid is manipulating Maria, and so yeah, and so it's like Sid's one who hired the Seraph Wings, and yeah, so then what's going? You have Zio talking with Kinato, and Kinato's not talking with anyone his own age besides Line. So he has no idea how to act around Zio, so that's kind of funny. And so Zio says, he wants to be a hero and like basically, help everyone in the kingdom have a bronze statue built in his honor. And he asks Kanto what his dream is. Kanto starts to answer, but then so they find Ibis's workshop, and Ibis is like really hurt. Like the magic formula is really like messing with her body. And so then you have yeah. Then you have the other member of you know Seraph Winterride, the one who was with Zio, like basically used some thread magic to trap everyone, saying that her job was to deal with the suits of armor, and if Ibis is the cause, they'll get rid of Ibis. And Kanto says no, that since Ibis's magic is trying to work hard to make gadgets for everyone, and so basically, so he says he can't let someone who's trying to help people be killed just for sake of a mission. So he tries to move through this and like he gets cut, so he's bleeding. So he uses his Sede magic to heal you know Ibis, and basically his magic's able to go through the threads to people. So like, what's funny, like even like the Seraphine user, like Mage is able to like basically like get relax as well. So everyone else gets affected by it. And so, Iris is healed and Elsie hugs her. And so the chapter ends. So it looks like next chapter is going to deal with resolution of all this. We'll see what happens, like what happened, like what Ibis was trying to do, what caused the accident, all that. So I'm interested to see what happens with that. So yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Alien Headbutt, chapter 7. So in this chapter, yeah, so then Oga like is fighting the alien, using his wrestling moves on it. But then yeah, so and then like Tatsumi is trying to help out using his harm abilities, but then the alien shoots an attack at Tatsumi, knocks his arm off, and it looks like a big portion of his stomach. So he's like bleeding to death. And then another alien arrives that's even bigger, has a parasite tightly inside him. So, and so Oga tells Yuki to not like move Tatsumi from there, that he'll grab a parasite from the alien and put inside of Tatsumi so that Tatsumi can heal. And so yeah, so Oga prepares to fight the alien to to save his friend. So we'll see what happens next chapter. See what happens with that. But yeah, I thought it was a good chapter. Like how the fight gets aliens. But yes, the big stakes here with Tatsumi about to die. So we'll see what happens there. I thought this was a good chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Rooster Fighter, episode 2. So this episode, so you have a middle-aged man named Yasuo Oda. Sells chickens. He lives in Surukame. Um, you know, there's one of the little chicks named Pyoko. Very little. Basically, he's bullied by the other chicks, and Oda becomes attached to her, and he scribbles a duty on her back. Now, Oda owes money to a Yakuza family, and he ends up owing more when his friend Tajima signs a debt transfer contract. So, and Oda already has some trauma from his past. His mother abandoned him to run off with some dude. And basically, everything that's built up unleashes a demon that starts, you know, attacking the town. Eiji arrives there, fights, the Oda demon. Kyoko asks him to not kill her master, as she calls Oda. Keiji kills the demon, but somehow Oda had survived. Basically, I guess like Oda's soul, I guess, wasn't fully possessed by a demon, so possibly due to having all the chicks, like all the baby chickens. So Oda was able to survive. Now barely, and Kyoko like kind of like falls for Keiji, and Oda tells Pyoko to go off our own. So Pyoko tries to find Keiji. So Keiji defeats a slug demon, but is wounded. When he saves Pyoko from a piece of demon, Pyoko drags Keiji to a back alley and basically helps him recover. And Keiji agrees to have Pyoko tag along as long as she follows, like, basically does what he says, like, doesn't drag him down. Then they're ambushed by Elizabeth, who somehow knows Keiji, who wants to kill Keiji. And yeah, we'll see what happens there. Because Elizabeth actually has a sword. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I thought this was a good episode. It's so freaking funny. You have Pyoko just being an adorable little baby chicken. I'm like, how could anyone bully this little one? I mean, I can understand wanting to eat Pyoko. I mean, I would want Pyoko to grow up before eating it, but so that have more chicken. As Chick-fil-A always says, eat more chicken. But yeah, I thought it was funny. Like the whole like the whole thing Oda saying go. I was like, what the frick? Like this series, this show knows how like silly it is, but it leans into it and it works so well. But yeah, I thought this was a good episode. Looking forward to the next one. And that's it. Did, did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.